We're going to make a fold-formed cuff. So our metal is 20 millimeters wide, 150 millimeters long, 0.8 thick, 155 long. Now we're going to scribe a line down the middle so we know where to bend it. Clip the corners, round them off with the file now. So just fairly small amount of metal. Just easier to do it now than at the end. Number 2 cut flat hand file. And just lightly touch it up with your 400 grade paper on your sanding stick. We'll tidy it up more later. So you need a forming block to hammer this into to start our bend. I just have a groove cut in my block. Shift that a little. And what I do is I just place the metal in there, use my cross pane hammer, or in this case a jeweler's hammer, and just gently hammer in the middle on the line that you've scribed. Doesn't have to be real accurate, but you're just going to start the bend like this, and then come up on top, use your rawhide hammer and just start folding it a little bit at a time. And once again, it's not critical if you're slightly not in the middle. It's absolutely not a problem. So you can see how I've almost folded it completely flat. So now we're going to take our bench block, or an anvil if you're lucky, and just hammer that fold flat. Plenishing hammer, slightly rounded side. So you don't have to kill it, just flat. And now we're going to take our cross pane hammer, and because I want this ridge on the top, most of our hammering will be on the ridge because I want it to curl that way. Now, a cross pane hammer works good for this. A raising hammer, if it's sharp, will work good, but I like my little jeweler's hammer. It's basically a cross pane. I'd suggest you go into the noise room, do this on an anvil. So just like that. I'll eventually get it turned so you can see what I'm doing. There. So hammer predominantly on the fold, which is different than we did on the hammered leaf. but go ahead and let it come out a little bit so we get a pattern on the rest of it. But mostly on here so that it curves that way. I've gone all the way down this side. Now I'm going to turn it over and go down the other side. So we want a pattern on both sides. You can see it hasn't curved much. It doesn't matter. After we anneal it, we'll open it and we'll curve it to what we want. I've got this hammered on both sides. You can see how it's slightly curved. Now we're going to anneal it, and because this is sterling silver, we have to bring it up until it's a dull red. So I'll go do that now. So I'm using the annealing pan. We want a fairly large flame for this because it's a big chunk of metal. So just start at one end. Hold your flame so that it goes down the length of the metal. Bring that up to a dull red and just work your way down towards the other end. You have to actually move the flame off the metal to see the color. And by going back and forth, I can actually do that. So this is a dull red. Okay, that's annealed. We'll quench it in water. And then pickle it. Now this is sterling, so I'm going to need help to get it open. A bench knife is pretty good, but we want to be careful because we don't want to put a lot of marks in it that we're going to have to polish out. So just get it started, and then I would use a burnisher, a straight burnisher in this case. Open it up a little bit more. Now we can turn this opening over, put it against a ring mandrel, and we're just going to hammer with a rawhide hammer to open that up. So just work your way down the piece. Yep, and we'll open it right up. I think I'll lay it on my wooden block and work it. So I'd suggest you go in the noise room to do this. So just keep working down the ring mandrel, a little bit at a time. And it'll open right up. So after we get it opened, then we'll finish forming it. Now because I'm opening this one a different way than I did the other one, I'm using a little round forming hammer to hammer into the fold. And it's just opening it up a little bit at a time, and the marks that it puts on it aren't critical because this is going to be the inside of our piece and that's going to be the outside. So just keep opening it up. And once we get to this point, we can put it around our oval bracelet mandrel and use the rawhide hammer to finish opening it up, and we'll form it. Oval mandrel, and we'll just hammer it against. So you can see how it's opened it up, and because I wanted this ridge on the top is the reason I'm opening it this way. This one has the ridge on the inside. It's just a slightly different method. So once I get this opened up, I'll form it around the mandrel and then I'll polish it. So that's my basic bracelet. Now I'll finish pickling it, finish farming it a little bit. A couple of extra little ripples I'll take out using the rawhide hammer, and then we'll polish it. Done. Just feel it with your fingers. If you feel any little rough bits, use your sanding stick to tidy it up. And because I thought it was a little bit too flat, I put it on the anti-clastic stake and I rolled these edges up a little bit. Time to polish it in the tumbler. So you can see the difference between the two. Seam on the inside, seam on the outside.